I'm Joe Hebert, CEO for Outcrop Silver and Gold. I'm going to talk mainly about our flagship Santa Ana project. We've made a very significant discovery on it, and we've moved to the next stage of resource, and now we're just concentrating on growing that resource by generating and testing new targets.
Joe, thank you very much for the introduction. Good to see you again. We last spoke a couple of months ago, just after you published your maiden mineral resource. Since then, you've raised $4.5 million, and you put out a bunch of news releases talking about new veins and kind of getting started on drilling again. So you've got the new money, you've got some new exploration targets. Can you synthesize what the plan is, please?
Yeah, the plan is looking at past success rate, which is about 630 silver equivalent ounces per meter. We think we can do better than that now based on the knowledge we've gained. So we want to go from our maiden resource number of 37.7 million silver equivalent ounces to basically go to 50 by drilling another 12,000 meters and adding roughly 12.3 million silver equivalent ounces.
So hang on, let me just let me unpack that. So for every meter you drill, you have defined historically so far 630 ounces of silver equivalent, and that's your indicated portion of the resource is running 446 grams per ton silver and 2.3 grams gold for about 614 silver equivalent ounces. So you're about 2/3 in indicated and 1/3 in inferred, aren't you? So just run that by me again. How many meters have you drilled for the 37 million ounces?
Roughly 56,000 meters. And that's produced 37.
Okay, it's quite an efficient process. And so you've just raised $4.5 million. I can't help but notice that the news release before the completion one was that you were going to raise $6 million, but you've only raised $4.5 million. Presumably that's just a function of a terrible capital market.
Yeah, it's it certainly was. It's tough right now, but to raise that amount, shows some confidence in the company and the ability of creating value with that money. And then I should just interject that Eric Sprott did participate for 25% of that raise.
Did he follow his interest, or was that a new? Did he increase his weighting?
It's an increase. Yeah, it's a slight increase. It did a little more than maintaining what he had.
Okay. With that $4.5 million and your improved discovery rate that you're anticipating, will that get you to the threshold of 50 million ounces that you want to get to as kind of a global resource?
I think so. We did pause the drilling after the maiden resource report, and one thing that allowed us to do is to go back into our original resource area of 7 veins. And we were actually successful in discovering a significant amount of new veins. And one important point with respect to that is the La Linda vein and the Palomas vein actually added the width of the vein zone almost 100%. So we're back into that high success rate drilling, and because of the knowledge and because of the proximity to the other chutes. So what we're looking at is we want to go from that 630 silver equivalent ounces to about 1,000 silver equivalent ounces. Part of that will be by taking a bias to inferred, and part of that will be we'll be drilling deeper, like 350, 370 meters on a couple chutes that are open, and then the other just a higher success rate based on knowledge. So we think that hitting the 50 million silver equivalent ounces by adding basically 12.3 million silver equivalent ounces, we can do for about 2.3 million drill costs and 2.6 million, including all project.
Okay, and probably let's call it $3 million round numbers if you're going to include the corporate overheads as well. I'm just kind of getting my head around this. So about if you can take it up from 630 silver equivalent ounces you discover with a meter of drilling to, let's say, 1,000, and you want to drill another 12 or 13 million ounces, you need 12 or 13,000 meters of extra drilling.
Exactly. 12,000 meters is what, we're setting as an objective. 13 would be fine, but that's correct.
But surely if you're going to be doing some deeper drilling, your success rate falls because you've got more barren material to get through until you get to your target zone. Isn't that going to kind of keep it down at 600, 700 ounces equivalent per meter?
Not exactly. Yes, obviously deeper drilling is more expensive and less bang for the buck, except for the fact that you're no longer trying to define shoots with that drilling near surface or even middle depth. I know on the two main shoots we'll be drilling. I've got block models on those, and I know exactly where to put the pierce actually.
So the chance of success falls right away, so you have kind of less wastage in that area.
Yeah, so it kind of balances out.
Is one of those shoots the Murillo shoot? Because it's in your news releases that gets kind of a special mention as a new target area between I think it's the El Dorado vein, which is kind of more or less north-south, moving slightly to the southwest, and there's something called the El Paraíso vein which cross-cuts it, and you separate out that junction as being of particular interest. Could you tell me a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, we're moving from the sort of a hypothetical, semi-intuitive, if you got an vein intersection, it should be good, to this time we actually are, have a specific target based on two shoots that look like they come together. And we have seen it locally on like a splay versus main vein basis that intersections are good, and this might be some of the, logically could be some of the highest grade we've drilled to date on the project. And when I say highest grade, I mean talking about 9 to 12 kilograms silver per ton.
That's where you got. I think you got a sample of 58 grams gold as well from there.
Yeah, it's the gold is variable, but like you mentioned, gold's a significant part of that silver equivalency, and it's only silver and gold too. But yeah, anyway, not to distract myself, but that intersection is real. We know where to put the holes, and so it should. If it is true that we have intersections in creating better grade. We'll find out. And
the beauty about high grade, of course, is that you don't need many tons to add ounces.
Right.
It kind of brings me to my next question, which is, why 50 million ounces? What's the magic behind that kind of round number?
Well, it is a round number, and also it's a number that I think people look at the market historically, near term and medium term. People want to see progress actually towards 100 million, and they look at that as about 50 million ounces, 50 million silver equivalent ounces at each release.
Do you have an internal figure in your head for what would kind of stimulate a construction decision? Do you think, let's get this to 50 or 60, 70, 80, 100, 200 before you say, no, we've got enough high grade, we're going to start a mine here?
We haven't decided if we are the miners for this project or not. We want to create substantial value at low risk for the shareholders. If we did choose to vend it, it would be something on the order of 100 million plus, because we think we can actually do that at the sort of the rate that we've been going. And we also think that number itself would attract buyers, especially at this grade.
Yeah. So okay. Thank you. That's a useful kind of yardstick to have in my head. You've just been talking about kind of reaching 50 million ounces equivalent by drilling an extra 12,000 meters. How do you kind of go to the next step change? Do you how do you target 100 million ounces? Do you find more veins and drill in equal depth, or do you kind of drill further deep on the veins you've got? I mean, we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but I'm just curious about the kind of your thinking in this area. I did see in one of your, I think in your presentation, you said that there's kind of only 17% of the veins in the area that have been mapped. So I wondered if it's more lateral extension for you to do, kind of picking up more veins, or whether you're going to kind of go deeper on the veins you've got.
We're gonna go to more targets rather than the way I see it is as and it's sort of a concept I've been thinking of is you have a what's called a discovery rig, you have a deep drill rig, and then you have a delineation rig. And that discovery rig moves quickly because these things outcrop. It moves quickly and makes discovery and then moves on to the next high quality target. But with respect to the 100 million, I think the confidence in that number comes from having about 18 kilometers of vein segments mapped, and having 9 to 11 targets identified by trenching and or adits that all of them are in excess of 2 kilograms silver equivalent at surface. So it's a real fertile area and to work. There's 7 veins in the resource. We know we have 35 vein segments mapped, and about and within those 35 additional vein segments, we've got 11 very strong targets.
Thank you. That really helps kind of put the context and put the picture together. So is it fair to say that this $4.5 million raise that you've done, and that the next phase of drilling is it's almost like a consolidation? You're not going to be running with 3 rigs. You're not going to have the deep rig, the exploration rig, and the delineation rig, or maybe you are. I mean, does this feel like you just keep going at this rate to prove up the market? Am I putting too much supposition into this? How would you describe it?
No, I would say we're going to get rolling with 1 rig. It takes a while just to get the momentum reestablished, get the core rig up, and get the ensure you've got your surface permits, and the farmers are still comfortable. Do some work of set up in the core lab, and I think what we'll do is we'll do this 1 rig, and then we'll gradually go to 2 rigs. And so it would be the blow and go fast discovery rig on these high quality targets, and then it would be probably a delineation behind that. And then lastly, we would bring in a rig for drilling, 1 or 2 rigs diverted to drilling deep.
So is that unlikely to be in this, it's going to take a few months before you get to that kind of deploying additional drill rigs?
Yeah, because basically, I said the 12,000 meters that we think we need. Well, obviously we need to know where to put it. So the first thing is we have some deep drilling we're going to undertake. That'll be balanced. Those will be the highest quality, highest grade shoots that we have, El Dorado and Santa Ana, and low risk. And then when we start seeing what our needs are, we'll bring in a rig to delineate those and start putting them in the inferred ounce category. And then, like you mentioned,
great.
Drilling deep it's slow and painful, but you have to do it. But we would do that last.
Good. Thank you. Quick, let's step away from Santa Ana. Let's have a quick look at Colombia as a whole. I mean, Mexico is the kind of the big silver province. Peru as well, but that's dominated by the majors these days. Do you think Colombia is kind of getting a little bit more love because of the problems that Mexico's having? And also, how is Colombia being perceived internationally at the moment?
Honestly, for the majors, some of the movements or some of the discussion, some of the talks delivered by President Petro have caused some real reservation with majors. I mean, they're retaining their properties, but I don't think they'll be expanding. But on the other hand, I think all the companies that have a significant and quality discovery, are probably gonna work within the directives of the government and which is basically environmentally and social responsibly exploration and mining, and also importantly, the Petro wants to contribute to the energy transition by producing metals. So silver is a big one. So I think that if you have a discovery, if you move fast, it'll be pretty much status quo. But I will say that some of the majors, and they've talked about it, some of the majors have real reservations about additional spend until they have a better feel for the actual actions on the part of the mining agency.
But you're free to go, so to speak, and you're not facing impediments to the way that you're operating on the ground.
No, not significantly. But you see some of the NGOs are more aggressive. So because of the leftist government, I would say so. But basically, in Falan, there's probably 78% support of us as a company and as a project, and you just need to maintain that, and maybe you need to work a little harder at and invariably spend a little bit more on the social license. But when I say spend a little more, we do an awful lot with, $120,000 a year for CSR and ESG, but if you have to do more, it's something that costs you have to pay.
Good. Well, Joe, thank you very much for the update, and good luck with the ongoing exploration. I always like a good intersection between structures and veins, so I'll be really interested to see what comes out of Murillo. Up and at 'em.
You bet. No, it's an exciting property. It's best property I've worked on, honestly. So I'm real optimistic about the outcome of this drilling program and continuing to enlarge the project.
And is that going to be the theme for the rest of the year? It's just kind of deployment of drill rigs, reporting drill results, kind of incremental reporting as you come through.
Yes, and then that's why we would like to have 2 rigs, just to have a more steady news flow of good results, and also as soon as we're in the position to revise the resource statement and report, we will do that. And like I say, if we can do that within 12,000 meters, you're talking 10 months or less.
Good. Well, that's something for the Q2 next year, I guess, is the next mineral resource update.
Yes. And thank you, Merlin. I appreciate it. Good talking with you.